Have you ever walked into a room and noticed an older woman sitting quietly in the corner, maybe sipping her tea, smiling to herself at some private thought? And somehow, without saying a word, every eye is drawn to her. She's not dressed to impress. She's not speaking loudly, and yet she owns the space. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? How does she do that? How does she carry herself with such quiet confidence? The kind that naturally pulls people in, especially men? I'm not talking about the charm you had in your 20s, or fleeting beauty that turns heads for a second. I mean that deep, magnetic energy. The kind that makes people lean in when you speak. The kind that makes a man feel genuinely lucky just to sit beside you. And what if I told you it has nothing to do with wrinkle creams or losing 10 pounds? That it's not even about looking younger? Because here's the truth. The most captivating older women, the ones who effortlessly make men crazy in the best way, aren't even trying. They've simply learned a few powerful things over time. And even more importantly, they've unlearned what no longer matters. They've let go of the need to impress. Instead, they own who they are. When they walk into a room, they don't shrink. They don't chase attention. They command it. With grace, with humor, with a kind of grounded joy that comes from a life well lived. And if you're sitting there thinking, that couldn't be me anymore, I'm here to tell you, you're wrong. Age doesn't steal your magic. It deepens it. It softens the noise and brings out what's real. And real is exactly what men crave more than ever. In this video, we're diving into 5 powerful traits older women embody that make men absolutely crazy. Not because they're seductive, not because they're perfect, but because they're grounded, joyful, full of purpose, and completely unapologetic about who they are. By the end, not only will you know these 5 traits, you'll know how to embody them in your own life, starting today. So get comfortable. And if you're with me, drop a comment below that says, "Still got it." Because deep down, you know you do. And if you're ready for more real, honest conversations about thriving in your golden years, don't forget to subscribe to Elderly Wisdom Insight, where age comes with power, not limits. Now let's begin. Starting with one of the most rare and magnetic traits a woman can have, emotional maturity. Now that might not sound sexy at first, but let me tell you, in a world full of noise, unpredictability, and emotional chaos, emotional maturity is like a warm fire on a cold night take. Linda, for example, she's 68, lives in a quiet part of Ohio. Her husband passed away a few years back, and when she finally felt ready to date again, she did it with grace, no pretending, no games, no fishing for compliments or testing boundaries. She went on a coffee date with a man named George, retired, thoughtful, a little nervous, and when he asked about her past, she told the truth softly, clearly, but without shame. She didn't sugarcoat anything. She didn't dodge the hard parts. And here's what happened. George leaned in, not just physically, but emotionally. He told her later, "Linda, I've never felt so safe talking to someone before." You see, that's the secret. Men, especially older men, aren't looking for drama. They're not chasing unpredictability at this stage in life. They want peace. They want to feel like they can breathe in your presence, and that kind of calm, that inner peace only comes with time. It comes from living through heartbreak and healing. It comes from raising children, burying parents, fighting battles no one saw, and walking away with your softness still intact. Now, here's the thing: some older women still believe they have to perform, that being direct will scare a man away, that they need to play hard to get or hide their truth behind clever lines. But the truth is, when you own your emotions, when you can say, "I felt hurt, and here's why," or "I need some time to think, but I care," you show strength, not weakness. So don't apologize for being grounded. Don't shrink. When your truth rises, don't twist yourself to make someone stay. Because the right kind of man, the man who's worthy of your energy, he'll be drawn to your stillness, like a moth to a flame. But emotional maturity isn't the only magnet. Some women have another, quality that draws men in without a word. It's subtler, quieter, and far more powerful than most realize. Let's talk about mystery. There's something about a woman who doesn't reveal everything all at once. She's warm, approachable, yet somehow she keeps you leaning in, wondering just a little more about who she is. Let me tell you about Cynthia. She's a 72-year-old retired English teacher from a small town in Michigan, sharp as a tack, always put together, but never flashy when she meets someone new, whether it's a neighbor, a friend, of a friend, or someone she might want to get to know on a deeper level. She doesn't rush. She smiles. She listens. She watches how they move, what they say. And when she speaks, it's thoughtful, intentional. Now, here's the thing. Cynthia doesn't hide who she is. She's not secretive or aloof, but she doesn't pour out her whole life story over one cup of coffee. Either she holds something back, not to be mysterious on purpose, but because she understands something many people forget. Curiosity is magnetic. When we reveal ourselves in layers, we let connection build naturally. And that process, that slow uncovering, it creates a kind of emotional tension that draws people in. You see, our brains are wired for novelty. When something is slightly out of reach, when there's more to discover, we release dopamine. That's the same reward chemical that kicks in during excitement, affection, and bonding. So when you share just enough to spark interest and then pause, you're not being distant. You're inviting someone to show up and invest in the unfolding of your story. Now here's where some folks get it wrong. They think that if a man's interested, they need to get everything out in the open. They rush to explain every past relationship, every heartbreak, every detail, hoping it proves honesty. But here's the truth. Oversharing too soon doesn't build closeness. It overwhelms it. It removes the beautiful process of discovery. It denies both of you the gift of slowly building a bridge of trust. Instead, try this on that first or second date, or even when reconnecting with your partner of many years. Focus more on the moment, smile, ask questions, share one meaningful story, not 10, and let him earn your deeper layers, because your story isn't a sales pitch. It's a treasure, and treasures aren't dumped out all at once. They're uncovered piece by piece by those who are willing to stay curious. And believe me, the right person will love that about you, not because you're hiding, but because you're respecting your own depth now. While mystery is what draws a man in, what makes him stay, what keeps the connection grounded and full of admiration, is something far deeper. It's not about how you speak or how much you reveal. It's about how you live. Let's talk about purpose. You know, what's truly magnetic? A woman who wakes up in the morning and knows why she's getting out of bed, not for anyone else, not to impress, not to chase, but because there's something she's here to do. Let me introduce you to Deborah. She's 73, lives in a small town in Virginia. And if you ask her what she does with her time, she won't say, "Oh, I'm retired." No, Deborah says, "I grow food for my neighbors and I help folks find warmth in the cold." Every week, she's tending a community garden she helped build from the ground up, and twice a month, she's at the shelter downtown offering warm meals and warmer smiles. Now, is it the gardening that draws people to her? Is it the volunteering itself that gets her noticed? Not exactly what draws men. What draws everyone, really, is that Deborah has a reason to be alive that's bigger than herself. She's lit. From within, she doesn't wait for someone to give her joy. She creates it, and that kind of energy that's magnetic in a way. No makeup or dress could ever be you. See, having purpose gives you something most people don't even realize. They're searching for vibrance. When you have a goal, a cause, a project, even a small one, your eyes shine differently. You walk with more intent. You smile from somewhere deeper. And whether you're 63 or 83, that energy is attractive. Now here's where a lot of women fall into a trap. They start thinking, "Si waarder tweeder ten setter to your seers." If I could just meet the right person, Then I'd feel happy. Again, if only I wasn't alone, I'd feel motivated. They fall in love with the one who makes them feel free to breathe, to exhale, to be human. And finally, we've talked about emotional maturity, the pull of mystery, the power of purpose, and the gift of laughter. But there's one more thing, one that's harder to define but impossible to ignore. It has nothing to do with how loud you speak, and everything to do with how fully you show up. Let's talk about presence. Let me tell you about Gloria. She's 70 years old. Silver hair brushed back in a neat bun, always dressed with simple elegance, and when she walks into a room, she doesn't need to announce herself. She doesn't fill the air with noise or rush to impress anyone. She just is. She moves with intention. She speaks slowly with the kind of pause that makes people lean in. She holds eye contact, not to challenge you, but to let you know she sees you fully. And somehow in that quiet confidence, Gloria owns the space. Now, that's what we call presence. It's not forced. It's not loud. It's not something you can fake with flashy clothes or a polished smile. Presence is felt. It's when you've lived long enough to know you don't have to chase attention anymore. You don't have to be the loudest voice or the most decorated in the room to be noticed. In fact, the older women who truly captivate are the ones who show up exactly as they are, wrinkles, wisdom, and all, and make no apologies for it. They don't shrink when someone younger walks in. They don't soften their voice to make others comfortable. And they definitely don't second-guess the space they take up. But here's the mistake. I see far too often so many women, beautiful, brilliant, seasoned women, try to dim themselves. They hunch their shoulders. They laugh quietly. They say things like, "Oh, I'm too old for that." Or, "I don't want to be a bother." And I want to grab them by the hands and say, "Stop apologizing for being fully you. You've earned every scar, every lesson, every ounce of your presence. You don't owe anyone smallerness. Confidence isn't about being loud, it's about knowing you belong, and that kind of knowing, that deep soul-settled awareness. It makes people listen when you speak, even when you say very little. So the next time you're at a dinner or in a group or even just walking into a store, sit tall, lift your chin just a bit higher, speak with intention. Even if it's just one sentence, let your silence be full of meaning. Wear what makes you. Feel powerful, not to impress, but to honor yourself, because when you own your space, you remind others how to respect it. And let me tell you, that kind of presence, it drives the right kind of man absolutely crazy. Not because you're trying, but because you're radiating something that can't be faked. Self-respect. And that, my friend, is the final and perhaps most important secret. Now let's take a moment and bring it all together, because the emotional journey doesn't end here, in fact. It's just beginning. Let's pause here just for a moment, because this isn't just a list of tips. It's not just about what makes men look twice. It's about something much deeper, something many women don't hear. Often enough, aging can feel like fading, like becoming invisible, like stepping off the stage while the spotlight moves to someone younger. But here's the truth. Aging isn't fading. It's blooming every laugh line you wear. That's a moment of joy. Remembered, every wrinkle a story etched by time. Every scar, emotional or physical, is a quiet proof that you survived, that you lived, that you loved. You don't need permission to shine anymore. Not from a man, not from society, not even from the version of you that once doubted her worth. You are not less. You are more grounded, more powerful, more whole this moment in your life, right? Now isn't the leftover chapter. It's not what's left behind, it's the main story. The one where you finally stop asking who you should be, and you just are, and you don't need to prove anything to anyone. You don't need to compete. You don't need to bend yourself into shapes that don't fit your soul anymore. You've always been desirable, not despite your age, but because of it. Because wisdom is attractive, because peace is magnetic, Because a woman who knows who she is, truly, is the most captivating force on earth. So here's what I want you to do. Don't try to change everything overnight. Just pick one thing from today. Stand taller. When you walk into a room, let yourself laugh. Louder than you usually would speak the truth you've been holding back, or take that first little step towards something that makes you feel alive again. You don't need all 5 traits tomorrow. You just need one moment of choosing yourself again and again until it becomes your rhythm. And if no one's told you this in a while, let me say it plainly. You are not behind, you are not late, you are exactly where you're supposed to be, because being an older woman isn't the end of your story. It's the beginning of the most unapologetic, unfiltered, radiant chapter yet, and it's one the world needs now more than ever. Let's take a breath together and gently bring this full circle. We've just walked through 5 powerful traits that make older women not just attractive, but unforgettable. So, let's recap. Nice and slow emotional maturity. The strength to be calm in the chaos and clear in your truth. Mystery not as a mask, but as a quiet invitation to be discovered purpose. Because a life filled with meaning radiates energy that words can't capture. Humor, that beautiful, contagious joy that says, "Walimidur, I've seen a lot and I'm still smiling." And finally, presence, the unshakable power of a woman who knows she belongs wherever. She stands these 5 things. They're not tricks. They're not for show. They're the natural glow of a life lived fully and a soul that no longer shrinks now. I'd love to hear from you. Which of these 5 traits do you see in yourself? Is there one you've embraced, or maybe one you're still growing into slowly? And surely drop it in the comments below. Let's talk about it, because this space isn't just a channel, it's a community, and your voice matters here. If today's message touched something in your heart, if it made you nod or smile or even tear up just a little, go ahead and give this video a like. It tells YouTube to share this kind of wisdom with more women, like you, women who deserve to hear it. And if you haven't already subscribed to Elderly Wisdom Insight, this is where we speak truth, honor our journey, and grow into our power together. This is a space for seniors who are done hiding and ready to thrive. Thank you for spending this time with me today, really. Thank you. Remember, your age is not a limitation. It's not something to conceal or overcome. It is your badge of brilliance. Wear it. Boldly live it fully. And I'll see you, radiant as ever, in the next video.